Good morning, student. Welcome to SRPS Online Studies. Today we are going to discuss about chapter number 4 of class 8 science, that is metals and non-metals. Children, I want to ask you one question. Have you heard this word metals and non-metals at your home? Yes, we have seen so many types of material at our home that is made up of iron, copper, tin, silver and gold at our home. So that all are what? That all are, they are metals. Okay. Then what are non-metals? They such as sulfur, phosphorus, all these are our non-metals. Okay. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals and the rusting of iron, corrosion, what we are doing for prevention of corrosion, all these points. Okay. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the metals and non-metals. Okay. Now the first one topic is our physical properties of metals. We can say that elements can be classified into two groups. It depends upon their physical and chemical properties. Here we can say that metals and non-metals can be differentiated into two parts according to their physical and chemical properties. Understand? So first of all we are going to discuss about physical properties of metals. Okay, and so in the first part metals we are going to discuss about the physical. Have you know about the physical word, that what is that meaning? Okay, physical properties of metals, it means that the physical, it means the outermost or whatever the changes that happen in the metals which we have seen it. Okay, which will be see. So metals first properties when we are asking about, when we saying about, so metals first point is metals are solids. Most of the metals which we see the characteristics of metals, then most of the metals are solid. But one exception is there in metals is one of the element, that is mercury. Mercury is also metal, but it found a liquid state at a room temperature. Okay, so most of the metals are solid, but what happened? One exception is there of mercury. Mercury is found liquid at room temperature. Second is metals are hard. Metals are hard, but exception is there. Lithium, potassium and sodium, they all are metals, but they have some softness is there. Third one is metals have a metallic luster. What is the meaning of luster? Luster means some shine. So have you seen the metals have some shining, and you have silver, copper, tin. Have you seen that something shining is in it? So metal property, one of them is there, that metals have a metallic luster. Fourth point is metals are malleable. What is the meaning of malleable word? Malleable word meaning that when we beat metal, or we can say that when we beat metal, so what happened, the metals can be converted, or the metals can be after beaten it converted into the thin sheets. That property is called malleable. Or we can say that the property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets. Understand it? What happened? What are malleable? The property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets. That property is called our malleable or malleability. Okay, so we have seen wires of copper and aluminium. Metals can be drawn into wires. Thus, the next properties are ductility. Metals are ductile. What is now ductile? Though it is same as there as for malleability. What is the ductility? The property of metals by which they can be drawn into thin wires. If before it in malleable, they can be beaten into thin sheets. So that properties are malleable. But when it is to be drawn into wires, that is called our ductility. Okay. So gold and silver are the most malleable and ductile metals, we can say. Metals have a high melting point. Gallium and caesium have a low melting point. We can say that most of the metals have a high melting point, but one exception is there of gallium and caesium. Gallium and caesium have a low melting point. What happened in that? They melt in the palm of our hand. If we kept on our palm, the cat can be melt. So they have a low melting point. Now the next one, metals have a high boiling point. We can say that the metals have a high boiling point. They have a high boiling point in it. Metals generally have a high melting and boiling points. Okay. In that also one exception is there of sodium and potassium, which have a low melting and boiling point. Okay. Now the next one is topic is metals are good conductors of heat. We can say that most of the metals are good conductors of heat. Best conductors are silver and copper, and the poor conductors of heat are lead and mercury. Understand? Same as their metals are the good conductors of electricity. Best conductors of electricity are silver and copper. Okay. And the next one topic is metals are sonorous. What is the meaning of sonorous? What the meaning of sonorous means that they produce some sound. Understand? They produce some sound. So what happened? Okay, I'm giving you one example. When wood is struck, does it produce a ringing sound? Does it produce a ringing sound? Okay, so we have seen one activity also there regarding this. Strike a metal utensils. You have at your home so many utensils are there. So strike a metal utensil with a metal spoon. Then what happened? Some sound is emitted. Now strike a piece of coal with the same spoon. Do you found some difference in the kind of sound? So what happened? Metals always produces some ringing sound when struck. Okay, whereas non-metals are not non-sonorous. Understand? So in this point we had already discussed about the physical properties of metals. So yes, now we are going to discuss about some physical properties of non-metals. Yes, so what we have seen in the physical properties of metals, some of the different type of characteristics. Now we are going to discuss about non-metals. First point in non-metals are, non-metals may be solid, liquids or gases. We can say whether we have seen in the metals part, then metals are solids only. But whenever we are talking about the non-metals may be solid, liquids or gases. But exceptions are there. Solids are carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, liquid as bromine and gases hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and nitrogen, etc. Or we can say that non-metals may be solid, liquids or gases. So in this form they have given you some of the examples of solids, liquids and gases. Okay, non-metals are soft whereas metals are hard. Okay, but one exception is there of diamond. When we are talking about the diamond is non-metals, but it is the hardest natural substance. Okay, non-metals do not have luster. We can say that non-metals do not have luster. It means that they do not have their shining appearance. Okay, but one exception is there of iodine crystal. They have some shining appearance. Understand now what I am saying you? You mean that when we are talking about the non-metals may be solid, liquid or gas in first point. Second point, non-metals are soft. Third point, non-metals do not have luster. Fourth point, non-metals are not malleable, whereas we have seen in the metals part they have malleable. Okay, but non-metals are not malleable. Next point, non-metals are not ductile. Same as point. Non-metals which are solids and liquids have low melting point, whereas in solid what we have learned? We had learned that they have a high melting point or high boiling point because some of the exceptions are there. Non-metals which are solids and liquids, they have a low boiling point also. Okay. Non-metals are bad conductors of heat. Understand? But the metals are good conductors of electricity. Okay, and now the non-metals are the bad conductors of electricity. But one exception is there in non-metals of graphite. Graphite is non-metal, but they are the good conductors of electricity. Non-metals are not sonorous. Okay, the non-metals, when we are talking about the non-metals are not sonorous. It means that they are not create some ringing sound. Okay, so these are our physical properties of non-metals. Now the chemical properties of metals. First of all, we are going to discuss about the chemical properties of metals. In that, our first reaction with oxygen. What happened? The metals are react with oxygen. So when we are talking about the metals when they react with oxygen, it can form metal oxides. Here I am giving you two examples. First of all, example is of copper. When copper is heated, it combines with oxygen to form copper oxide. Let us understand with reaction. Copper, you have no Cu, that is the symbol of copper. When it is heated with oxygen, what happened? It can form copper oxide. It means that it forms a metal oxide. Same as there in another example also. When aluminium is heated, it combines with oxygen and it forms aluminum oxide. Yes. Now, in the chemical properties of metals, before we are seeing that when metals are reacted with oxygen, it can form a metal oxide. Now, our second chemical property of metal, that is reaction with water. Metals react with water to form metal oxides or metal hydroxides and hydrogen. Okay, let us see with the example. Sodium 2Na, that 2Na plus 2H2O. When sodium is react with water, what they form? They form sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen is released out in the form of gas. In the same, potassium is when they react with H2O, they can also form potassium hydroxide, then hydrogen gas emanated out. Then calcium, then again calcium is when it reacts with water, it also forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is liberated out. In the same form, aluminium, when it reacts with water, it also forms aluminum oxide. So then it forms aluminum oxides, and then hydrogen gas is liberated out. So in this part we can say aluminum oxides. So when aluminum is react with water, what they form? They form aluminum oxide plus hydrogen gas is liberated out. In the same case, Fe is also, iron is when reacted with oxygen with water, what happened? It also form iron oxides and hydrogen gas is liberated out. Okay, so this one is our reaction with water. So the main thing in the metals part is that when the metals are react with water, it form metal oxides or metal hydroxides and hydrogen. Okay. Now the next one is reaction with acids. Now metals, when they react with dilute acids, it forms salts and hydrogen. Third chemical property of metals are when they react with acids, it can form salts and hydrogen. See, so many examples are there. So what we are seeing, Mg, that is a symbol of magnesium. When magnesium is react with hydrochloric acid, what they form? Magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas is liberated out. Same there is in the case of aluminium. Aluminium, when they react with hydrochloric acid, what they form? Aluminium chloride and hydrogen gas is liberated out. Same case in the case of zinc. When zinc is react with hydrochloric acid, what they form? Zinc chloride and hydrogen gas is liberated out. Same as there in Fe, when it react with HCl, what they form? Iron chloride and the hydrogen gas is liberated out. So overall meaning is that when metals are react with acid, it can form salts and hydrogen. Keep it in your mind. Okay. Now the fourth one is when metals are react with metal salt solution, what they do. So what happened in the reaction of metals with metal salt solution? Okay, so let us understand a more reactive one reaction is there in this part, that is called our displacement reaction. What is the meaning of displacement? Displace, it means to have to be moved out from their place. Okay, so what happened in them? Let's see. A more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its solution. That reaction is called our displacement reaction. Understand? So it means that one metal replaces another from its salt solution. That is called our what? That is called our displacement reaction. So many examples are given there. Magnesium displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. Okay, so magnesium when it react with copper sulfate, it form magnesium sulfate, thus copper is released out. Same there in zinc displaces copper to form copper sulfate solution. It means that zinc Zn, when it react with copper sulfate, it forms zinc sulfate, okay, and copper is released out. Then iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. Okay, then what did iron do? Iron, when they react with copper sulfate solution, what happened? It releases out, it gives out ferrous sulfate, and copper is released out. See there, one they had given you one activities. So what is in activity? Let's see. We have in purple color, in one test tube we have taken blue copper sulfate solution, okay, and then we add some magnesium powder from the top into it. What happened? Reactions happened. Then what happened? Magnesium, what did they do? Magnesium is to be displaces the sulfate from displaces the copper from them, okay, and what happened? The magnesium sulfate, then see, colorless magnesium sulfate solution has made, and the pieces of copper is to be stay down at the bottom of the test tube. Okay, so by this example, by this activity, we can understand it. One more example is of iron. We can take one test tube, and then we take some solution of copper sulfate solution, and then we put some iron in. So what happened? Which reaction happened? Iron reaction. When iron is react with copper sulfate solution, what happened? It react with copper, it react with iron. Then what happened? Green iron sulfate solution. The solution of color is happened green, and it form iron sulfate solution and copper metal on iron, and the green and the brown color metal is to be rested over on the iron nail. So that is for this activity we have to leave this test tube as for 1 week while reaction take place. Understand? Yes. So when we are discussing about some chemical properties of non-metals. So in that part we had discussed about that what is the reaction with water, what is the reaction with oxygen. Now what is the reaction of non-metal with acids? Non-metals generally do not react with any type of acids. Okay, so that is there. We can say that non-metals not react with acids. Now the next topic is our rusting of iron. What is the meaning of rusting? Have you know? Have you seen something that is to be rusted at your home so many times? So your coolers or something. So that is corrosion. What is that is called what? That is called our corrosion. That what is rusting? Rusting of iron. Let's see. We have taken one example or one activity as for this. You can understand it by help of an example. Corrosion. Let us understand first of all what is corrosion. Yes, corrosion is the damage. That is the damage that is caused by two metals due to the reaction of metals with oxygen, moisture, and carbon dioxide. Understand it? What is corrosion? What is corrosion? What is corrosion? We can say that corrosion is the damage. It is a damage which can cause which can be caused by due to the metals due to the reaction of metals with oxygen, moisture, and carbon dioxide. Okay, so what happened in this one? In this one, let's see. For examples, they had given you formation of brown coating of rust over iron. That is also corrosion example. Formation of green coating of basic copper carbonate over copper. That is also corrosion. Formation of black coating of silver sulfide over silver. Okay, so these are our examples. These are the examples of corrosion. Now let us understand with the help of an activity to show that air and moisture are necessary for the rusting of iron. Okay, so what is that? Yes, now understand. Take 3 test tubes. Okay, what happened? Take 3 test tubes marked 1, 2, 3 and put iron nails in each of them. Here you have seen the three test tubes are there, and what we have taken? We have taken 3 iron nails and put each on in of them. Put some anhydrous calcium chloride in test tube 1 to absorb moisture. Pour some boiled distilled water in test tube 2 and pour some oil over it to prevent air into the test tube. Pour some water in test tube 3. And then cork the test tubes and leave them for few days. The nails in the test tube 1 does not get rusted because it had only air and no water. The nails in test tube 2 does not rust because it had only water and no air. You have seen, understand what I am saying you. The nails in test tube 1 does not get rusted. Why? Because it had only air and no water is there. And for the rusting we know that 3 things are essential: oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide. Okay. So what is there? So it had only air, no water is there. So that iron nail is not rusted. The in test tube B, what happened? It also does not rusted. Why? Because it had only water, no air is there, and the oil air is also over on them. So that iron nail is also not rusted. The nails in test tube 3, it get rusted. Why? Because it had air and water in it. So understand, we have to notice that 2 things mainly we have to require as for the corrosion or as for the rusting: oxygen and moisture. Oxygen, moisture and air on water. We can say that if the 3 things are there, so we can say that the rusting is to be happen. Okay. Yes, now we are going to discuss about the reactivity series of metals. What is the reactivity series of metals? Let us understand. So the arranging of metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity. Understand it again. The arranging of metals, all these are our metals which you have seen in this table. The arranging of metals in the decreasing order. A decreasing order, you know, na? At the topmost one, the most reactive one, and at last the less reactive one metal is there. So when we are arranging the metals in this form, in the decreasing order of their reactivity, that is called our reactivity series of metals. Let us understand with the help of this table. K, that is the symbol of potassium. So that potassium is the most reactive element. After then sodium. That is the sodium. That sodium is the least. Sodium is the less reactive than potassium, and then calcium, then magnesium, then aluminium, then zinc. Till here, and after zinc, reactivity started with the decreases part. Okay. Then iron, Pb, lead, H, hydrogen, Cu, copper, Hg. Mercury, Ag, silver, Au, gold. So at last, when we see, gold is the least reactive metal. We can say hydrogen, though a non-metal. See, in this table, hydrogen, though it is a non-metal, but it is also placed in this series. Why? Because it also forms some positive ions like metals. Okay. So that is our main reason. So and you understand now. So the reaction of metals with oxygen, water and acid shows that metals have a different reactivities. Okay. Potassium and sodium are the most reactive one. And whereas the silver and the gold are the least reactive. Okay. So this one is our reactivity series. And because of this reactivity series, the elements can displace the other one element. Okay. Now, the chemical properties of non-metals. When we are talking about the chemical properties of non-metals, till here we have discussed about the chemical properties of metals. Now, we are going to discuss about the chemical properties of non-metals. Now, in them, first reaction with oxygen. Non-metals, when it react with oxygen, it form non-metallic oxides. That also non-metallic oxides. So what happened in this, see in the example, when sulfur is heated, it combines with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide. Understand, the reaction is there, S, that is of sulfur. When it combines with oxygen, when it is heated in air, what happened? What they form? They can form sulfur dioxide. So what we have seen in this form, sulfur is non-metal. When it reacts with oxygen, what they form? It forms a non-metallic oxide. When carbon is heated in the air, in the same it combined with the oxygen, what do they form? They also form carbon dioxide. C plus O2, it gives CO2. Okay. Now reaction with water. What happened? Reaction with water. Generally, non-metals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. Such non-metals are stored in water. For example, we can take phosphorus. Phosphorus is very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if exposed to air. To prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, so we have to store that is in the water. So non-metals do not react with water, so it may be very reactive in air. Yes, now our next topic is our prevention of corrosion. What we are doing as for the prevention. Rusting of iron and corrosion of other metals can be prevented by not allowing air to come in contact with the metal. So some of the methods as for doing this are: corrosion of metals can be prevented by applying oil or grease. Applying oil or grease. It means that if we are applying grease or oil on the surface the surface of a metal, what happen? If they that oil layer and grease layer have to prevent a contact between the prevent a contact of the silver, prevent the contact of air to get it into that. So applying oil or grease. So we can say applying oil or grease or applying paint. These 2 points are the similar one. What are there in them? Painting the surface of the metal after cleaning it thoroughly. It is the most common method of preventing corrosion. We have seen at our homes also so many times so our father is to be applying some of the paint or applying grease or oil is to prevent our metals. So what the paint do? The paint keeps air away from the metal surface. Okay, because by this air only that our metal is getting corrosion. Okay, and applying grease or oil on the surface, that also do the same thing. It also keep away the air from the metal surface. Understand? That is the main point of applying oil or grease over on the metal product. Next one is by galvanization. What is galvanization? In simple method, we can say that the coating with zinc. A coating with zinc or clean iron sheets when it dipped into the molten zinc to deposit a layer of zinc, that is called our galvanization. Okay, so when we are doing the galvanization process, what happened? So we can see that it prevent from corrosion. The GI water pipes which is available in the market, that are made up of galvanized iron. The galvanized iron does not rust even if there is a scratch on the zinc layer. Okay. Now the next point is by tinning. By tinning, it means that by tinning, by coating with the tin, coating with tin or coating with any type of things. The same thing is happened if we are tinning it, so that the air not goes into the contact with the metal, and that the what happened? Our metal is getting protect from the corrosion. Next point is by electroplating. What is electroplating? What is process of electroplating is also used to deposit a metallic layer to prevent corrosion. So in that manner, we have seen that tin is also electroplated on iron to make food containers, commonly called the tin cans. Okay, and when we are talking about the chromium is electroplated on steel furniture and bicycle handles to prevent rusting. So coating a less reactive metal like chromium, that is called our electroplating. Okay, the next point is our by alloying. By alloying means by making alloys. Making alloys means that some metals become corrosion resistant. Okay, some metals become corrosion resistant. So when alloyed with other metals, so these type of metals when combined or alloyed with other metals, so it resists the corrosion. For example, we can take stainless steel. Okay, stainless steel is an alloy of iron, chromium and nickel, so it does not rust easily. Understand now? So that is the points by which we can prevent the corrosions, or we can these are our methods for doing the prevention of corrosion. Okay, now the next one topic is our alloy. What is an alloy? An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metal or non-metal. Or we can say that an alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or one or more metals and non-metals, usually carbon. Okay, so alloying is used to alter the properties of metals to suit certain applications. So what they do, an alloy is usually made by mixing together metals in their molten form. Okay, so they are also sometimes made by mixing metal powders together. Understand? So this one is our alloy. Here are some examples they had given you. Steel, that is iron and carbon. Stainless steel, iron, carbon, cobalt, nickel. Brass, copper, zinc. Okay, we can say brass, copper, zinc. Bronze, copper, tin. Okay, that is the constituent which is present in it. Okay, solder, lead, tin, used for welding electric wires together. Okay, if one of the metal in an alloy is mercury, that is called an amalgam. Always keep it in your mind. Most of this question is coming mostly in the exam. Then what is amalgam? What is an amalgam? Then if one of the metal in an alloy is mercury, that is called an amalgam. Okay. Now last, that what are the uses of alloy? Alloying can be used to increase hardness of metals. Alloying is used in the hardness of metals. Second use, alloying is used to make metals more resistant to attack by chemicals and atmospheric corrosion. Okay, or one more thing we can say that in alloys, that alloying is also used to change the properties of metals. Okay students, now I had explained you the whole chapters. If you have any problem in this chapter, then you ask to me. Okay, thank you so much.